Okay, so try to wrap your head around this. Imagine a website that isn't hosted anywhere. It doesn't live on a server, it has no real owner, and it can't be taken down. It exists, believe it or not, entirely inside the link you share. Today, we're breaking down Nowhere, a pretty radical protocol that makes this seemingly impossible idea a reality. This is the core idea. And yeah, it sounds completely backward. How can a simple link be the website? To get our heads around that, we first need to understand the problem that Nowhere was built to solve in the first place. The internet we all use today, well, it's fundamentally built on a foundation of permission. We basically have to ask to be here. Think about it. The early promise of the internet was all about freedom, this amazing, decentralized space where anyone could publish, create, and connect. But what we actually got was platforms, these huge, centralized services that control who gets to speak, what can be sold, and which communities are even allowed to exist. We've all seen it happen, right? Stores get deplatformed, fundraisers are frozen, entire forums just disappear overnight. And somewhere along the way, we just started taking this for granted. We create accounts, we click agree on terms of service we never, ever read, and we just accept that our online lives are basically at the mercy of some giant corporation. We've been taught to constantly ask for permission. Well, Nowhere is a complete and total refusal of that entire idea. So how in the world does it work? The solution is actually incredibly elegant, and it's been hidden in plain sight this whole time, inside every single URL. Every URL has this component called the fragment. You've seen it a million times. It's everything that comes after the number sign or the hashtag. Now here is the crucial point, the part that makes this whole thing possible. According to the official rules of the internet, browsers are actually forbidden from ever sending that fragment part to a web server. It stays right there on your device, inside your browser. This is how the magic trick works. When you click on a Nowhere link, the server only sees a request for a generic little page builder, the exact same one everyone else gets. It has absolutely no idea which website you're looking at, because the entire site, the store, the forum, the article, everything is packed into that URL fragment, which remember is never sent to the server. This creates a really fundamental shift in how we think about this stuff. If there's no server holding the content, it literally can't be taken down. If it doesn't belong to an account, well, that account can't be suspended. The website travels with the link, completely independent of any central authority. Okay, but how do you fit an entire website into a URL? I mean, they're not that long. It all comes down to a really, really clever compression pipeline. You can kind of think of the process like making super concentrated juice from a giant pile of fruit. First, the website's data gets organized into this neat, compact text format. Then, the system acts like a text expander, but in reverse, replacing common words like the and with these tiny little symbols. After that, it uses clever compression, the same kind you find in a zip file, to find any repeating patterns and shrink them way down. Finally, the whole thing is converted into a format that's safe to use in a web link. And the craziest part? This all happens instantly, right in your browser, turning a whole website into just a single line of text. That's great for static sites, like a blog post or something. But what about dynamic content? Things like forum posts or store orders or petition signatures. How did those work without a central server seeing everything? For any kind of live communication, Nowhere uses a system called Noster relays. You can just think of them as simple message forwarders. But, and this is the key, all the data, whether it's a forum post or a new product order, is mathematically encrypted before it ever leaves your browser. So, let's say you write a forum post. Here's what happens. The relay doesn't see your words, it doesn't see your name, it doesn't even know what the topic is. All it sees is a meaningless encrypted blob of data. The relay literally can't read the content. It doesn't know who the author is, and it can't even tell which forum the post belongs to unless it already has the secret link. What this means is that your privacy isn't some policy promise that can just be broken later. You don't have to trust the relay operator to be a good person. The protection is guaranteed by math. The relay simply has nothing to give, even if it's forced to. And this brings us to what is maybe the most powerful idea behind Nowhere. The guarantees that it offers aren't found in some long, boring terms of service document. They're built directly into the code itself. Policies can change, right? Companies can get sold. Promises can be broken. But the fundamental design of a system, its architecture, that creates rules that are basically unbreakable. A platform's promise not to censor you is a policy commitment. It requires you to trust them. Nowhere's inability to censor you is a technical guarantee. It only requires you to trust math. And that is a really profound difference. And this architecture has real-world consequences. A store that's encoded in a URL can't be removed because it isn't hosted anywhere to begin with. A forum can't be deplatformed because there is no platform. Each copy of the link is the original. To censor it, you'd have to find and destroy every single copy of that link in existence. Ultimately, this is what it all comes down to. Every single piece of technology we use, whether it's a social media app or a payment processor, makes a choice, consciously or not, about where power resides. And with nowhere, the answer to that question is always the same. Power belongs to the person holding the link. It's a tool that doesn't ask for permission because its very design makes permission completely irrelevant. It's a fascinating attempt to reclaim that open, permissionless web that so many of us were first promised.